That was beautiful. Thank you so much. This past week was United Against Hate Week in Fremont, and I was able to attend a few of the events that they had scheduled. One we even coordinated here at Mission Peak, the Transgender Day of Remembrance on Wednesday evening. These events highlighted how compassion is manifested in our city, and if not, how we can increase our compassion and spread it around in our community. And something that happened this week for me personally highlighted what true compassion is. I was meeting a friend for breakfast last week and ran a couple of minutes late. She was waiting for me in front of the restaurant, and as I walked up, I could see she was talking to a man. When I arrived, she introduced us and said that Adam, not his real name, would be joining us for breakfast. I said, "Of course, that's fine." He is homeless and had asked her for money, but she said, "Wouldn't it be nice to have breakfast and be better for you instead?" And he acknowledged this, and we went inside. We all ordered, and he ate and asked for dessert, and we said yes. During the course of our meal, we asked questions of him and got to know who he is. He wasn't from Fremont, had just been released on a 5150, and had nowhere to go. I asked if he had any possessions, and he said no. I asked if he had a jacket, and he said no, it had been stolen. He was a calm and gentle soul and was very polite. My friend and I began to brainstorm what services Fremont provided to see how we could help him. She called a shelter, but they were all full. I called Abode. We tried to call the Family Resource Center. We racked our brains for resources here in town that could help him. We didn't want to just leave after giving him breakfast. When I finally reached someone at Abode, I gave him my phone to talk with her, but he didn't understand what she was saying, and as he spoke very softly, I don't think she heard him in this noisy restaurant, and she hung up the phone. We knew then that we should just drive him to the Family Resource Center, and hopefully he could get help there. When he went to the restroom and we were waiting for him to return, the waitress came up to us and said, "You are doing such a wonderful thing. You have shown me how to be in this world." "Are you American?" she asked. "Were you born here?" I at first didn't understand her request and said, "I am Unitarian Universalist." and this is what we do. She said, "God bless you, and what you did was a wonderful thing." The gentleman returned, and we proceeded to drive him to the center. He thanked us profusely and was so grateful for our assistance. We even offered, and he accepted, some of our leftovers, and I had a bit of cash to give him. My friend and I spoke for a time after that, and then we went our separate ways. There is so much to unpack about this exchange. One, I credit my friend with showing her generosity and compassion towards another human being. I don't know that I would have thought of that in the moment as she did. She truly saw him as a fellow human being in need. Secondly, we both got to know a stranger who was in need. We sat and listened to his story and learned a bit about what his life was like. He's been unable to get proper treatment, unable to get the right mix of medications to help him navigate the world. And he has been unable to connect with his family, either by his choice or theirs. We learned a lot in this hour and a half we spent with him. And we were able to listen without judgment as we truly saw him as another human being. Thirdly, we modeled behavior we didn't even know we were modeling. We weren't aware that others were watching us. We especially weren't aware of the impact our behavior had on the waitress. She saw us in a new light, and I think she saw him in a new light. This was a busy commercial area where I'm sure they have seen many homeless people walking by. And I hope that she will see someone in need in a different light now. Fourthly, and I find this one a bit disturbing, our behavior that she observed did not seem American to her. I had observed her earlier speaking in Spanish with other workers and patrons in the restaurant, so I knew that English wasn't her first language. And it saddened me to think that she thought our behavior wasn't American. When my friend and I discussed this later, I had not really heard what she had said, and I began to realize that that is not how she sees Americans who are born here. And there's a reason for that. What do we see in the news every day that indicates that Americans are compassionate to others, that we are accepting of others, that we treat everyone equally and with kindness? Merriam-Webster defines compassion as a sympathetic consciousness of others' distress together with a desire to alleviate it. It's not callousness or selfishness or hard-heartedness. It's a consciousness of being, a recognition of another person's humanity and need, an act of service, an act of love. My friend showed that. She had never met this man, and yet she felt his distress and his pain as if it were her own. How often do we feel that, yet ignore it? We probably can't do something for someone else every day, we think. Oh, wait, why not? Holding the door open for someone, carrying packages for someone, picking up something that they dropped. These are tiny things that we can do every day that help others. And once in a while, we can do bigger things. And remember, it's not about us. It's not to make ourselves feel better. But guess what? We do. We always do feel better. I believe human beings are born kind. It's the universalist part of me. It's what life does to us and how we react to life that determines if we lose our compassion and kindness. And many of us do lose it. I've noticed this year it has been a more difficult, strenuous year in my ministry compared to other years. And many of my colleagues have remarked the same. We are all so very tired, and it's only November. As we've discussed this online and in person, we all attribute it to the same thing. Our country is weary. We are all exhausted. The tenor of our politics, the atmosphere that has permeated our culture, the hatred and divisiveness that has come to be the new normal in our relationships with each other in this country is wearing us all down. It has to become exhausting to live here. to watch the news, to hear about the shootings, the screaming fights between our government representatives, the name-calling, and the misogyny and racism on a daily basis. It has seeped into the bloodstream of this nation. We are infected with it. And what do we do when we have an infection? We take antibiotics to stave off the infection and cure the host. We need an antibiotic for our nation right now. And we need it now. We can't wait any longer because this infection has invaded us. It's hard for so many of us to be thankful, to be grateful that we have, because our vision is clouded and our blood is contaminated. Add to this events that life throws at us personally that affect our families and our friends and our co-workers, the state of our climate and the hazards we're facing. And we are in a giant cloud of overwhelm. How can we not be exhausted? So what is our antibiotic? What can we do to stave off this infection in our country? To take action, yes, but how and what? I believe it's kindness. These small moments when we can help another human being will help to stave off the division and hatred that has overtaken our society. Active kindness. It has to be active kindness. We must make the effort every day to literally make an act of kindness towards another human being, especially a stranger. Our families and friends generally expect us to be nice. But strangers have come to believe that everyone is out to get them in some way and out to harm them. We have to change that narrative. We must. Our culture has reached its own climate crisis. We don't have any time left. Yes, we do need to get those elected into office who will be more kind, who will understand that we are one nation, just one. But we also need to change this atmosphere we are breathing in that is poisoning us as if we are breathing in poison gas. It is the basis of living, how we treat each other. It is the foundation of our society, of our relationships with others, in our relationship with ourselves. We must bring kindness and compassion back into the air that we breathe. And we can't wait for others to do it. We must do it ourselves. We need to begin to model to others what that kindness and compassion looks like. We can't wait any longer for others to do it. It is up to us now. Give kindness to a stranger every day. Make that a mantra that we can all follow. We see people in pain every day. And sometimes they even ask for our help. Don't say no. Give kindness to a stranger every day. In this way, we can change our world. As Margaret Mead has been quoted, never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it's the only thing that ever has. Go out and be inspired by my friend's compassion. Be thankful for all that you have instead of looking at what you don't have. Start off this thankful season with gratitude and compassion. Be inspired to clean the air we breathe with compassion. It is the only thing that will help our world. Give kindness to a stranger. It is the only thing that ever will. May it be so. Blessed be.